Years ago, my cheerleaders, I coached the varsity cheerleaders, if you didn't realize that. And we were, Oh, thank you. And we were on a rain delay, we were under the stadium just hanging out, and the girls were talking about cell phones. And they're like, I actually kind of hate it. They said, I hate how it makes me feel. I hate the constant need to check it and be on it all the time, but also, I don't want to go without it because all my friends are on it. They're like, I wish my mom would take it away, but then I'd be mad at her for taking it away. I wish all the moms would take our phones at night so that I could actually rest. They recognize, some of them, the more aware ones, actually recognize what's happening to them. Like, these kids live and die by their phones. As a teacher, man, you try to take a kid's phone, some kids will go down swinging before they will give you their phone. They won't give it up. They just won't. And so when I think about how do I solve, whenever there's a problem, I ask myself, like, how do we solve this problem? What does the Bible have to say about this problem? Well, obviously, the Bible doesn't mention social media because it wasn't around 2,000 years ago. But distractions, things that control us, things that make us kind of like slaves to them, those things were around in biblical time, back in Jesus' time. So there is a Bible verse that I feel like definitely applies. It says 1 Corinthians, it says, I have the right to do anything. You can say that, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. And I would argue that many of our kids and many of our adults are mastered by our phones. We can't put them down. You go to dinner, where's that phone? Right here. You're sitting down at the end of the night trying to relax, and where's your phone? I do it. I'm watching TV and I'm on Facebook. Like, and I'll scroll Facebook and I'm like, okay, I've gotten to, they used to be Facebook had a, you've reached the end. They took that out. And I'll give myself, and then I'll be like, okay, that's enough. And then 20 minutes later, I'll go to bed and I'll lay down and be like, I wonder what's on Facebook. And I feel myself wanting to pick that back up and check again to see if anything else has hit Facebook. We have allowed ourselves to be mastered by this, and the designers of social media have very intentionally designed social media to master you. They're in the Social Dilemma, they talk about algorithms. Algorithms are these mathematical formulas. They take all the data, everything that you do online. They say in there, and the one thing they say, and then I was like, oh my gosh, they said, if you don't pay for it, then you are the product. They are mining your data, all that like big long thing that we just scroll and click, I've read it. That thing, that big long terms of conditions often says that they have the right to track everything you do. Some of them even allow you to track everything you do outside of their app. Like TikTok is one that TikTok allows them to see what else you do in your other apps. And they're all related. Facebook and Google, and YouTube, all three of those are tied together. I mean, how many times have you been talking about something or searching something and then it shows up in your Facebook feed as an ad, right? And they say, oh, what we did is we looked at your search engine and that's why. Or, oh, we looked at what your friends like, and if you're good friends with them, then we give you an ad for that too. I say BS, I say they're listening to us. Because I'll just talk about something and not search it, and suddenly there's an ad for it. So there's algorithms that are very intentionally looking at everything you say and do and the way you think and what drives you. And they are trying to keep you on your phone as much as possible and hook you as much as possible, and it's happening to our kids too. You know, for me, Facebook knows I love dog videos, so I get them all the time. Like on my little reels, it's constantly funny dog videos because it knows I like them. So whatever you like, whatever will keep you on, they do more and more. There's a story in the Social Dilemma. This boy is like, I've got to get off social media. It's too much. I'm spending too much time and energy on it. And so he vows he's going to get off. And what they do is they personify the algorithm. And the algorithm's like, oh my gosh, he's on here less. What are we going to, we got to do something. We got to find a way to hook him back in and get him back in here more often. And so what they do is like, oh wait, He's starting to slow down. We're about to lose him. You know what he used to really like to look at? Pictures of his ex-girlfriend. And so then Facebook starts showing him stuff his ex-girlfriend is posting on her social feed. And she's got this new boyfriend or whatever, so they start showing him those posts. And now he's going there down the rabbit trail of checking out her social media feed and what's she doing and trying to figure out. And he's obsessively checking all the stuff that she does on her social media feed. It's crazy. Like one girl, the parent decides they're going to get this lock. There are these timed lock boxes you can put phones in. And they sit down at dinner, and the mom makes all the kids put the phones in, and the one girl gets up, the mom thinks she's getting up to get some ranch or something. She takes a hammer, she breaks the box, and she goes up to her room. She'd rather destroy the box so she can have her phone back than sit with her family at dinner. That's what these social media things are doing to us. They want us to stay hooked. They are mastering us. But God says we are not to be mastered by anything. Jesus doesn't want you to be mastered by anything else except the Lord. So my question then is, who is your Lord? Is it God or is it your phone? What is mastering you? And so as we think about that and we watch those of us who have kids, as we look at that, what is mastering our kids? Will your kid break the box and go down swinging if you take their phone away from them? Because if so, then they are mastered. Those people who build those algorithms intentionally build them to be addictive so that your kids are on them the more, because the more your kid is on it, the more advertisements they're going to see, the more money they're making. What is mastering you? What is mastering your kids? And so I've got a couple of pro tips. It was funny, just last night on Facebook, a parent in Ludlow said, what's the best monitoring app that I can put on my kid's phone? And there are a ton of them out there. And so I'm not going to recommend one or the other, but I recommend if you have kids, I recommend that you have one. You've got to have some, if you've got kids, you've got to have some way that you can see what they're doing, who they're calling, what they're texting. Because like Snapchat, those of you who don't know about Snapchat, like something comes up and I think it's a day later, it's gone. So if someone is harassing your kid or your kid is harassing someone, within a day that is gone and you can't see it. Right? It's like after they read it once or something, it's like goes and then it's gone and there's no trace of it. This is why I don't use Snapchat, because I think it's bad. Yeah, in my opinion. Yeah. 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 So parents need to have one of these apps. My sister-in-law has one. My nieces are 11 and 13. And I was out with Madeline, and my niece Madeline can get a bit obsessive about things. Like once she likes something, she really likes it. She's really into it. And so she's on Duolingo, which is a good app. I mean, it's a good way to learn language. It's not like Snapchat or TikTok or anything like that, but she will spend hours on it. And my sister-in-law knows that's not good for her to be on it for hours. And so my sister-in-law has software on the girls' phones, and she can limit how much time is on each app. So Madeline will reach the end of her time on Duolingo, and if she wants more, she can request it. So like we were waiting for a show, we had extra time. So Madeline's like, I've used up all my time on Duolingo. And so she was able to request, 10 more minutes. And Melissa gets a thing on her phone, and she's like, okay, I'll give you 10 more minutes. But so that, there's, and things that you can see, every message, every phone call, every text. You want to be seeing, parents need to be seeing what your kids have. Because people might be sending them stuff. Your kids might be sending terrible things to other people. You need to know that. And I know there's a lot going on, and that's just one more thing. But if people are bullying your kid, or your kid is bullying someone else, you need to know that. The average kid spends 7.5 hours a day on their phone. The average, 7.5 hours a day on their phone. That is a lot of time on their phone. We were just talking last night, a group of us who were like my age, and we're like, we were so glad they didn't have phones when we were like in college. The things we would have put on there. But parents, you need to know what your kids are posting. So that's one. And two, examine your own time. There's a way you can go through your settings. If you need help, I can find a way to show you how to do it. See how much time you're spending on your phone. How much time are you spending on social media? And limit that time for yourself. If you need to set an alarm, okay, I'm going to get on Facebook, I'm giving myself 20 minutes, and when that alarm goes off, I gotta close it down. Because you don't want to be mastered by your social media. You don't want to stay up all night on your social media. It's not good for you. You know, they talked about in the video, like, we are meant to be people who go outside, who have face-to-face human interaction. These kids don't know how to do that. As a teacher, I can tell you, you give kids downtime, the first thing they do is they pull out their phones. They are forgetting, not even forgetting because they never learn. They struggle to have face-to-face interaction. And I get so frustrated, I'll go to a restaurant and I'll see a family sitting there at the table, and to me, dinner time at the table is face-to-face, how you doing, check-in time, and what they're on their phones. And I'm like, you're teaching your kids to not talk to other people. We adults need to model what it looks like. At dinner, phone in pocket, phone in purse, whatever, but not on the table where everyone can see it. Unless someone's in the hospital and you know that you need an important one-time message, phone goes away. Same thing like school. It drives me as a teacher crazy. When I've got a kid on their phone, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, my mom's texting me. I'm like, oh, tell your mom to stop it. We've got to model that behavior for our kids, to not be on our phone all the time. And so ask yourself constantly, what is mastering me? And how can I master it? How can I use it in a way that's healthy without letting it overtake me? And another thing that I see on social media a lot is like the little girl, the story with the ears. These kids go on there and they're like, you should kill yourself. You look like this. There was a thing I read once. This woman, she had bad, just naturally, really bad acne. And so if she would go out without makeup, everyone's like, do you wash your face with pizza? Like, she posted a picture on social media of her without makeup. Oh my God, you should never leave the house without a bag over your head. You should kill yourself. I can't believe you're so ugly. And I'm thinking to myself, there is no way that woman walks down the street and people would say that to her. But when we're safely in our houses behind our screens, it's really easy to say these terrible things. And these kids kids will say terrible things to your face, but they really do it behind their screen. And so another thing that we need to remember, and this one is, I'll come back to that. This one's in the Bible, is whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable and excellent and praiseworthy, that's what we need to be thinking. That's what we need to be posting. There have been times that I've been so mad about something and I just want to go on Facebook and just blast somebody or something because I'm so mad. And I have done it a time or two. I confess. I have succumbed. I have let my anger master me, and I'll go on social media and I'll rant and rave about something. But the author of Philippians, I believe it's Paul, says, no. That's not who we're supposed to be. We are supposed to be people as Christians. We are supposed to be people who whatever we're putting out on social media needs to be true, noble, right, pure, admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy. Not getting on there. As a teacher, I get so frustrated. These parents go on and like, the school did blah, 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 and I can't believe they did this, and I can't believe they did that. And I'm like, hey, number one, you have about half the story. That's not really true. My kid's getting bullied and the school doesn't do anything about it. BS. The school did something about it. Or your kid started it. Half the time, your kids poked the bear. But we as Christians need to be people who are using our social media to bring to the world things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy, not the opposite of all that. We've got to be people who are bringing light into the world, not snuffing light out of the world. All right. So parental controls, tech-free time, human interaction. Another thing that I want to recommend, especially to parents and to us, it's really easy. I get it. Paula's just saying she put 22 hours of overtime in this week. And I'm sure the first thing when Paula gets off work, what she wants to do is go home and sit on her couch. That's a lot of time. And a lot of us are super busy. And so when you're super busy and tired, what you want to do is you want to go sit on your couch. But we need that human interaction. We need to teach our kids to have that human interaction, because our kids, there are kids I talk to and I'm like, what do you do when you go home? I sleep or I play video games. The end. And most of us in this generation, we remember was go home, get outside, and don't come home till the lights turn on. But kids these days come home and they go straight to their bedroom and they get on their game box, they get on their phones, they get on their computers, and they just are behind a screen all night long. They've got their headphones. Like they're losing the ability to have human interaction. We need to model that. We need to be teaching that. Have your kids have a play date depending on their age, have friends over, have sleepovers. I loved sleepovers as a kid. I loved sleepovers. But these kids, like a friend of mine, she and her friend have daughters who are friends. And so let's get together and have dinner, and then we can talk and the girls can talk. They get there, the food comes, they're sitting there for not long, half hour, 40 minutes, and the girl's like, we're done. We're ready to go home. And they're like, what? But you just got together. Well, it turns out the girls have been FaceTiming for hours before they got together. By the time they got together, they didn't have anything to talk about anymore. We've got to teach our kids to have some human interactions. And then teaching them technology etiquette, teaching your kids how to use it well. When I was a kid, technology etiquette was answering the phone. Hello, Wolf residents, can I help you? But we need to teach our kids, and we need to learn it ourselves because we didn't grow up with it. I don't think, none of us in here were born before 1990, after 1996. So we've got to learn it and teach it to our kids. And so every week I give you a dare. I dare you this week to find a way to get closer to God and to not allow technology to master you. To be the master of the technology, not let it master you. Let God be your master instead of your technology. So I'm going to give you 4 things you can do to get closer to God and get further away from technology, to break that hold of technology on your life. So 1 is to go into your settings and look at your screen time. What is sucking you in? And most of those settings will tell you which apps you spend the most time on. And so figure it out and ask yourself if you're okay with that. Are you okay spending 3 hours on YouTube a day? Know what your habits are, because it's really easy to be like, oh, I only spent 20 minutes, and then really it's an hour. And then I recommend you watch The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix. I bet you can find it on Amazon at this point because YouTube, because it's been out there for so long. It's about an hour and a half, but it's definitely eye-opening. I highly recommend that you watch that documentary. And the next one, your A, is to ask, what am I, the master or the servant of my phone? What times and situations am I being mastered by my phone? And or look at your posts on social media. Do they follow the Philippians 4 guidelines? Read Philippians 4 and ask yourself, that's what you are, ask yourself if God would consider you a good digital citizen. And then make good use of your online presence. Post things that follow Philippians 4. Start having conversations, those of you who are parents, start having conversations with your kids about their technology use, and start using some of these pro tips to help your kids be safe with their social media. We don't have to be mastered by our phones. We don't have to let the algorithms master us. When we say yes to the Lord, God is our master, not the YouTube, Google, Facebook algorithms. So let's make sure that we're living a life that demonstrates that. And all of God's children said, Amen.